One-foot-flipper.
What is this mess? Dice bubble thing. Have you and Julie been getting into the dice vending machine? Has Julie been getting into the dice vending machine? Alright, well, we're going to have to clean this up before we start the video. Hi, Paige here, 1 Foot Flipper, and just to let you know, I'm not dead. I've fallen, and I did get up.
I've fallen, and I can't get up!
Apparently, I got some people concerned because my last video, kind of in a pop-up, showed that right after filming the video, I went to the hospital, and then I proceeded to not even make another video for 8 days. I did go through a lot of pain and a couple of bad days with that injured stump leg, but I'm okay now, and I really just haven't posted a video because I've been wrapped up with a whole lot of life stuff. Been trying to catch up with getting things listed because my sales are way down. That's mostly because I've been sourcing from my death pile of hard to list things that I kept passing up because they were hard to list, or they were worth listing but they weren't that good. And so everything I've got left now is that sort of stuff, and I've got to burn through it all, and it's much harder to get a huge dollar amount of listings out per day when everything is a difficult list item. So that's where I've been with that. And then sick kid has slowed me down. Daughter was sick all last week, although apparently, as you saw earlier, she got well enough to come down here and play with you, Owen, get a bunch of dice out of the dice machine and have some fun and leave a mess that she didn't clean up. And the dog might have even been on top of the bar because there's dog hair on the bar, and it's not UO's. All right, let's look at a couple of sales. And I sold a bunch of stuff that you're just not going to see over the last week because I didn't make any videos, and I don't feel like going back in time and making pop-up videos. I sold this Madame Alexander Party Pretty doll in the original box, $29.15. Last year, at a sale, I bought a whole storage tub of Madame Alexander dolls. Most of them, there's probably 40 or 50 of them in there. A lot of them boxed, some loose, and I've probably gotten $1,000 out of that box to date so far. There's not many left at this point. I think there's only one left in the box and maybe a half dozen of them that are loose. My loose ones I could probably sell quicker, but I have them all in at £2 shipping rate, even though most of them come first class. That's because I think I listed all the dolls in bulk and I put them all at £2 shipping rate, even if they weren't, because I was just blasting them out. But they still get marked down, they still eventually sell, and then hey, it's much cheaper for me to ship them, so I do just fine on them. Next item, which I'll just have to pop up because it's upstairs. The customer wanted me to wait until next week to ship it. And unfortunately, I can't do that. eBay is going to ding me on that, but they said they're out of town until next Thursday. But the item's also going to end up going in a tiny padded envelope, so it's going to end up in their mailbox and not on their porch. So I'm going to wait until the last possible day to ship it, and then I'm just going to send it out. Oh, items like this you want to list in the perfume collectibles category, not the perfume category. Another thing that's upstairs is this Good Luck hand-painted rooster, $16.19. And not much to say about it. It's just a chicken. My wife is really into chickens. She used to collect them. Now she doesn't. Now she just sources them when she comes along at sales, and that was one that she found. Next up, Eldon Go-Kart Vintage Raceway Slot Car Track. I believe I got this at an antique mall or something, not an antique mall. I believe it was a consignment place that was doing a clearance on all the dead accounts or abandoned accounts or something like that. I wasn't sure what the deal was. I paid $8 for this. It is not complete. It cannot build the track that's on the page there, but it can build a different track. The cars are damaged, and it has a set of completely different track inside. But I put all that in the listing, and I got $23.99. This did sell. This sold as a promoted listing. I had turned all my promoted listings off completely, and when I did that, as many people have experienced, my sales died. Even though most of my sales don't come from promoted listings, and even now that I turned them all back on, most of them still aren't coming from promoted listings, but I turned them back on, and that one was promoted. Just wasted 20 minutes looking for this. Thomas the Train Tower Set. Seems like a pretty big item to lose, and the reason I lost it is because my SKU said that this was pre-packed, that I had already boxed this up. So I was looking for a box that said Thomas Towers, and I scoured my entire place twice. Then I had long given up for it, was finding other stuff, and I noticed the edge of this thing poking out of a tub, and I never pre-packed the thing. It was all sitting in a tub. $11.80. I don't buy Thomas things anymore. I actually donated probably what, if I really put the labor into it, was a couple $100 for the Thomas stuff, but it moves so slow, and there's so much to identify, I just don't source it anymore. I had good luck with it at first, which is why I ended up with so much, but then it was just death pile dragging me down. So of course, my eBay problems always come in threes. I had 3 record problems this week. One of them was I put the wrong labels on the wrong records, sent them out to the wrong people. Those are both on their way back now. And the other one was one of those people who put the wrong address on something, but then really nicely make it out to be my fault. I sent out their record to the address they had, and it apparently got denied because they didn't live there. It got returned to sender. And I didn't even know it. They didn't, because they gave me no notice. They didn't drop it off from my house. I didn't find out until the customer contacted me. Then I had to go to the post office because it was there. And then at the post office, to get this record back, I would have had to pay the priority mail shipping rate on it, or whatever it was. It was $8. Would have been $8 to get this $5 record back. And I told them they could throw it in the trash. And I haven't gotten back with the customer yet. Not sure what I'm going to do about it. Because also, I know it's the wrong address because in the message they gave me a different address in their item not received claim. Could you please send it out to this address and not the satellite office that can't receive mail? Completely their fault. They admitted it. But I still feel like I'm probably just going to end up giving them their money back. I've already lost a bunch to this because I lost an entire hour going to the post office, which is something I never do. I don't go to the post office, ever. My wife, everything leaves from my wife's work. I never go to the post office, except if it's a rare Saturday in which we have so many things that there'll be too much for my wife to carry on Monday. Then we'll roll up on Saturday, and my kid will drag it all in. I still don't go in. So that's just a no fun situation. So if you buy a lot of record collections, you're going to end up with empty sleeves, wrong record, wrong sleeve, record in so horrible condition nobody wanted. Records that nobody would ever want. A good way to repurpose those extra sleeves is they make great packing material for other things. I use this Commodore's sleeve along with a piece of cardboard inside to ship some Fatty Arbuckle sheet music. Actually, it's just some sheet music with a picture of Fatty Arbuckle on it. I'll toss it up on the screen there. It was much easier than me wasting a record box on it or spending a whole lot of time coming up with some other packaging. This little bag of plastic parts just sold for $321, and I almost threw this stuff in the trash. When you're out looking for stuff, one thing that I always look for is anything really old in the box, specifically the sort of things that you wouldn't necessarily still be hanging around in the box. Of course you're going to grab old toys in the box and everything else, but stranger things, like I've in the past sold a rat trap from the 1970s still in the packaging. And these Everlast boxing hand wraps, these are really old. They're old enough where I could not ping anything on Google about the model number or anything else like that, so I'm not sure exactly how old they were. And what I've got here is a partial case. Got this for $2, maybe $3, I think it was $2, months and months ago. I knew that eventually somebody for some reason would want this. Maybe they collect things like this, maybe they want a movie prop. And finally, after months and months, I had a couple inquiries about it. I think one person wanted to use them because they were very interested in the length of the wraps. Then finally I got an offer for $25 to somebody, and I think it's going to be a movie prop simply because they were very concerned that I put this box inside another box and don't ship this as it is, because they want that box to look good. So I imagine this might show up in some TV show or somewhere. You know, it's 1983, maybe Apollo Creed or somebody is in there, and this box is just going to be sitting there someplace. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just going to somebody's collection, or maybe it's just a bargain for somebody and they want the box to be nice. I don't know, but I'm always going to be on the lookout for stuff that's still in the box. Some buyers let you know in advance that they're going to be trouble. Today I got a message from a potential buyer from the last one of the expensive Back to the Future Funko Pops that I have left, which, by the way, Funko Pops are dropping in value. I paid my friends 60% of what I expected to get for those things based on the most recent comps, and I was even conservative there. And at this point, I'm only going to break even, which means that they have dropped 23% in literally a month and a half. You don't see it, you won't see it if you search Terapeak just for Funko Pops, because the average sale price isn't changing. It's the rarity or quality of the ones being purchased. They're sliding back. The one that was $30 is now $20, and the customers are still spending that average $20 or $15 or whatever it is. It's just more of them at the bottom are sliding into worthlessness, and the higher dollar ones are sliding back. But anyway, that customer messaged me about a Funko Pop and asked if it was real or if it was a Chinese fake. Nice and insulting there to just accuse me of selling fakes. Thanks. Even though the pictures clearly show it's a real thing, I didn't call it a fake or anything else. And I go through and I look at his feedback, and he has a history of leaving neutral and negative feedback all over the place. I blocked this gentleman on both accounts and did not respond. I sold some Warhammer Fantasy miniatures. Chaos Seekers of Slanesh. 5 Hell Riders. $22.48. All my Warhammer buys are long paid for, so that's going to be all profit. Atari Basic computer cartridge for the 400-800 personal computer, $9. I've almost burned through my entire stash of these that I recently got. And speaking of old computers, I'm been going down the rabbit hole of watching YouTube videos about old computers, and I'm really getting interested in them again, and I've gotta stop myself before I try to pick up another hobby that I don't have the space for, because I don't have space to set up a bunch of old computers. I still don't have space to set up a computer down here, which is where I really need to have one. Pink Floyd Animals sold for $23.99. Pink Floyd seems to have the highest sell-through of any artist that I've encountered. My Pink Floyd albums, Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd both, maybe Led being just a little bit better, they sell extremely fast whenever I find them. Except for I've got one up at $200 right now because it's a Pink Floyd The Wall promo, and it's basically mint. And it's a radio station promo that they sent out at the radio stations. It's got the stamp on it, and it's got the vintage bumper sticker from my local rock radio station, Keishi, on the cover of it. I've already had a few people seen it and contact me about it. There's some definite interest. But at $200, I don't expect it to move instantly, because the $200 are what they have sold for in the past without the Keishi sticker. It's whether or not that person wants the Keishi sticker. One person didn't like it. The other person, the sticker is what made it for him, because he knew it came from that childhood radio station that he loved. All right, got Duran Duran, 7 and the Ragged Tiger, $9.99. Records still coming through. I am done listing records, at least for the time being. My source says there's one more box of LPs that I've bought but haven't picked up yet, but the rest are just 45s, and I'm saving the 45s for the wintertime when I run out of stuff to do. Billy Joel, The Stranger, $13.49. Billy Joel prices on Billy Joel albums are weird. Some of them aren't even $3, and other ones, like The Stranger, actually sell for something. Soft rock in general is not great on price. One little Wargaming miniature, $26.99. Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader Adventurer with Power Sword and Bolter. The way you get top dollars for these old metal fantasy and science fiction gaming miniatures is you have to figure out exactly what they are. And I do that by going to there's always an identification group no matter what game it is, and most of the stuff that's hard to find is either Warhammer, some flavor of Warhammer or Dungeons and Dragons anyway. You post the picture in that Facebook group, and some genius who knows everything is gonna tell you exactly what it is. And that's how I identified that. Kiss Destroyer, $29.99. Kiss also has a high sell-through rate, which is weird because I think all of the Kiss albums have been re-released. I'll pop this up on screen because I'm not taking it out. Little Rascals, Spanky Bobblehead, Harris Casino. These were made as a Harris Casino promo. I don't know how many years ago, but we have a Harris Casino here, so they pop up here in St. Louis, St. Charles, Missouri area a lot. I mean, they don't sell for huge money. You see $20, but if you see them, see this box that says Harris on it, it's gonna have a Little Rascals bobblehead, or maybe Three Stooges, or some other extremely vintage thing that interests the elderly. And they're usually good for $20, one way or the other. There is a Bolo one. I think it's Stymie in a really shiny suit or something like that. It might be Buckwheat in a really shiny suit. That one's more like $50, but I've never had that one. I'll pop this one up on screen because I'm not going to open it out of the package. Chaos Renegades miniatures. It's 3 little Warhammer miniatures from the old days, sold for $29.99 plus shipping. I'm getting into listing some of my old personal items. When I got those new shelves last week, I had to take some decorations down off the wall, and that wall had some arcade marquees on them. These are the signs that came off of the top of the arcade game, and there'd be a light behind it lighting it all up. The ones from the old days are all silk screened on plexiglass. They tended to get cheaper in construction as time moved forward. But I listed 4 of them recently. This one is Sega Carnival. You probably don't remember that one. This one is a little bit of me giving up on a dream. The City Connection. City Connection is kind of a little game where you drive a car around on platforms and you have to light up all the platforms. It was on... Most people would know it from the Nintendo version, because the arcade version didn't really come to America. I mean, apparently they only made like 800 circuit boards for this game in the first place. A couple hundred came to America under the name of Not Cruisin' USA, totally different game, and the rest of them stayed in Japan. And only a very few actually came to America under the name City Connection, which was the name they used on the NES cartridge. And I wanted a City Connection machine. And I spent 15 years trying to piece together the parts to get one. And all I ever found was a couple of circuit boards and this damaged marquee. And I put that on the machine. I played it for a while, and then somebody contacted me who knew I had the machine, and they were in Australia, and they wanted to set the City Connection world record, and I sold them my circuit boards so they could try to make the world record, because I figured I was never going to truly complete that machine. The rest of the pieces, the rest of the artwork pieces were never going to show up, and they have since never shown up. But I've got that up there. I've got Head On. This is probably might have played this on Atari. It's where two little cars go around a maze and try to crash into each other and not crash into each other. This is a machine that I bought for $10 at a live auction. It was water damaged and didn't work, and I took all the pieces out and burned it the day after I got it. Still have the nameplate. And this is a rare one, a Bolo, the Fairyland Story. I think I've got this up for $100. It's a rather rare import game from Taito during around 1985, where they weren't making a lot of arcade games, and stuff like this didn't come to America very much. And all right, well, I guess that's all my sales. That's everything else. I'm still alive. I hope you're still alive. And thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon. Also, you dog hair on the bar. That's not yours. Were you and Parker up here on the bar playing with the dice and miniatures? Really?